Toire no Hanako-san. Hanako-san is basically the tutorial boss of J-horror, a spectral schoolgirl with a vintage bob cut haunting the third stall of the third-floor restroom, while anime portrays her as a low-tier waifu ghost. She's actually a straight-up predator with a 1995 Fukushima case file that'll make you hold your pee until you get home. A janitor allegedly found a student catatonic in her stall, covered in a spatial slime, with a pH level so acidic it was literally melting the kid's uniform. Like, seriously. Imagine surviving a ghost only to get a chemical burn. CCTV footage from that day is straight-up cursed. At 4:12 p.m., the girl enters the stall, and the video feed hits a 12-second glitch where the walls seem to breathe. When the pixels stop screaming, she's being dragged into the floor by massive, six-fingered gray hands that definitely didn't belong to a lonely child. Bruh. Can we talk about the 6 fingers? That's a major red flag that we're dealing with something alien or reptilian. Locals in Tohoku don't buy the innocent ghost cope. They claim Hanako is just the lure for a 3-headed subterranean lizard living in the pipes, which is a massive nope for me. If you're dumb enough to knock and hear her raspy, "I'm here," you've got exactly 60 seconds before you become a snack for the plumbing. It's not like Bloody Mary, where you can just run. Once she locks onto your vibe, you're dealing with a biological hazard that smells like rotting sulfur. The 1995 survivor is still in a psych ward, and low-key. She starts glitching out whenever she sees the color red. Honestly, I don't blame her. I'd be traumatized too. Manto. Manto is a masked menace in a red cloak who camps in public restrooms to hit you with a lethal red or blue paper choice. He's not just an urban legend. He's a high-level reality warper, targeting people when they're literally at their most vulnerable. According to Osaka police file number 88-042, a victim was found in a park stall with her entire circulatory system drained of 5 liters of blood in under 180 seconds flat. That's faster than a barista making your latte, which is terrifying. Pathologists were losing their minds because there were 0 puncture wounds, just a haunting blue tint to the skin, like her oxygen was vacuumed out by an external force. This bio-profile is a perfect match for the blue paper endgame, where survivors say an invisible hand throttles you until you're the exact color of a Smurf. Imagine being taken out by a ghost over toilet paper. I'd be fuming in the afterlife. Back in 70s, a survivor described the cloak as having the damp, pulsing texture of raw human muscle fiber, which is a massive no thanks from me. Choosing red gets you flayed with surgical precision until your fit is permanently dyed crimson, while trying to be a main character by picking green or yellow gets you dragged into a void. There is 0 loophole in this sadistic game show. It's a rigged system from the start. The only way to survive this encounter is to decline the offer with 0 energy. Because this guy straight up feeds on the panic you feel while making the choice. Basically, just gray rock the ghost, and you might live. Teke Teke. Teke Teke is the vengeful spirit of Kashima Reiko, a girl who ended up bisected by a train and now hunts the midnight streets as a torso-only entity that runs on its elbows. I'm not even kidding. A human-shaped Ferrari, but it's just a top how. And it sounds like nails on a chalkboard, despite having 0 leg muscles. Teke Teke has been clocked at a terrifying 150 kilometers per hour in multiple witness reports, easily overtaking vehicles in urban prefectures like Hokkaido. The sheer biology of this thing is a straight-up glitch. A specific police log from the late 90s regarding a hit-and-run described a victim found perfectly severed at the waist. Yet the forensic sweep found 0 tire tracks, only a series of rhythmic, deep gouges in the asphalt spaced exactly 1. 5 meters apart, as if someone was sprinting on their humerus bones. She's got this toxic obsession with completeness, so if she catches you, she's using that scythe to make sure you match her aesthetic. Like, bruh, I barely have the cardio to run to the fridge, let alone outrun a torso doing highway speeds. If you're walking home and hear that rhythmic clack, clack, clack behind you, do yourself a favor. Do not look back. Once you make eye contact, you've basically accepted a duel with a creature that ignores the laws of friction and mercy. Kuchisake-onna. Kuchisake-onna is a street-level entity, appearing as a woman in a trench coat and a surgical mask who intercepts pedestrians to ask if she is beautiful. Back in 1979, this legend caused such a massive main character energy panic that schools in Nagasaki literally had to organize police-escorted convoys for students. According to a verified sociological study on the 1979 mass hysteria, over 2,000 schools across Japan adjusted their schedules because of legitimate sightings of a woman matching this description, carrying 12-inch tailoring scissors. And in one infamous encounter, a woman was actually apprehended by authorities, only to disappear from a locked interrogation room, leaving nothing but a puddle of saliva with a DNA profile that didn't match any human on the national database. Now, pay attention, because this is a rigged psychological horror game. If you say no, she snips your life thread with a pair of massive, rusty, industrial shears. If you say yes, she pulls down the mask to reveal a mouth, sliced ear to ear, and screams. How about now? Survival in this scenario is all about being mid. If you tell her she looks average or throw some Becco aim at her, she'll be so confused it buys you a 10-second window to vanish. Honestly, imagine being so obsessed with your looks that A, your mid-comment literally stuns you. She's the original insecure queen. But for real, if you're ever in Japan and see a lady with a mask and a pair of shears that look like they belong in a slasher movie, just keep your head down and pray she doesn't think you're beautiful. Hachishakusama. Hachishakusama is a high-tier entity standing exactly 8 feet tall. She wears a long white dress and a wide-brimmed hat. This giant woman primarily targets children and teenagers for abduction. If a lady taller than a basketball hoop appears, just run. She mimics the voices of your loved ones with terrifying precision. The horror is not just her height. It is her persistence. She marks a favorite victim and follows them forever. This turns a simple visit into a survival horror game. You cannot hide from her because she knows your scent. She is a specialist in breaking your mental defenses first. A 2005 survival log detailed a boy locked in a room. 4 bowls of salt were placed in the corners. By 2:00 a.m., the salt turned jet black. This meant it was absorbing pure, concentrated malice. The voice of his grandfather outside began to glitch. Suddenly, the window glass shattered from a subharmonic frequency vibration. She is a permanent geographical stalker who never gives up. If she marks you, you must go into permanent exile. You can never return to that region of Japan again. She claims ownership over your entire biological existence forever. In 2008, a victim returned home after 10 years. He was found the next morning on a power pole. It was 3 meters high and very difficult to climb. His limbs were folded in ways that ignored human anatomy. This was a clear message that she never forgets. Sukima Ona. Sukima Ona is a paranoia-inducing entity living in tiny gaps. She hides between wardrobes, under beds, or in ajar doors. Check the gap next to your desk right now. If you see her pale eyes, she asks to play. Want to play hide and seek, she whispers. Her presence is a psychological virus that spreads very fast. From that second, your reality is permanently compromised by fear. She will appear in every single gap you encounter. Her staring intensity will slowly erode your mental sanity. You will start seeing her eyes in every dark corner. Missing persons reports often highlight mysterious closed-room disappearances. People vanish from locked apartments without any signs of struggle. In 2012, Tokyo investigators found a victim's shredded personal belongings. Their phone and clothing were stuffed into a 15-millimeter gap. It looked like the person was compressed into 2 dimensions. You can never truly quit her twisted game. I spent my paycheck on tape to seal my room. I am not kidding. The fear is extremely real. Every crack in the wall becomes a potential death trap. You will stop sleeping because you fear the bed frame. The paranoia escalates until you look one last time. This is the moment your biological life officially ends. That is when she drags you into the narrow darkness. You simply cease to exist in this 3D dimension. There is no body left for a funeral anymore. Darumasan. Darumasan is a high-risk ritual. It turns your bathroom into a gateway for a vengeful spirit. You perform this by washing your hair in total darkness. Keep your eyes closed and chant Darumasan fell down repeatedly. Deep web archive logs from specialized occult forums reveal a terrifying physical pattern. Multiple users reported their bathroom mirrors cracking from the inside out exactly 3 minutes into the chant. This occurs despite no direct physical impact on the glass surface. You will mentally see a woman slipping in a tub. She gouges her eye on a tap and dies instantly. Once that image sticks, the game officially begins. Now, you are the prey for the next 24 hours. The one-eyed ghost will follow you everywhere. She lurks just behind your right shoulder at all times. You might catch her matted hair in shop mirrors. Forensic psychological studies on perceived stalking show a 40% spike in cortisol levels for practitioners of this ritual. This creates a state of permanent biological panic that attracts other low-tier entities to your location. If she gets too close, shout "tomare" and run. To end the ritual, you must act before midnight. Look at her and perform a karate chop motion. Scream "kita" to finally cut her loose. If you fail, she enters your dreams forever. You will never wake up again. Who needs sleep with a ghost breathing on your neck? This game is a one-way ticket to a lifetime of insomnia. Inunaki Village. Welcome to the no-go zone of Japan. Inunaki Village. This place is tucked away behind the old Inunaki Tunnel in Fukuoka. It is literally sealed off by giant concrete blocks for a reason. There is a handwritten sign at the entrance that says, "The laws of Japan do not apply here." Basically, if someone decides to cook you for dinner, the police aren't coming to help. Declassified thermal scans from a 1990s border survey detected strange heat signatures deep in the forest. These human-shaped figures moved in coordinated pack-hunting patterns. They don't act like a normal community. They act like predators. This is not a ghost story for kids. It is a territory for violent social outcasts. The vibe is straight-up cannibalistic horror. Guys, these villagers are descendants of murderers and exiles. They reportedly practice extreme inbreeding and ritualistic violence. Local cold case files mention a camcorder found near the tunnel in 1988. The final frame showed a hiker being dragged away by people in skin masks. Their DNA does not exist in any modern civil registry system. If you are curious enough to enter, you become fresh meat. They don't want your phone. They want your silence. They use rusted axes to ensure you never leave. You are officially off the grid and beyond police help. If you see a concrete wall, just turn around. Go get some ramen instead of being a dinner guest here. This village is a black hole where society simply stops existing. Tomino's Hell. Tomino's Hell is a cursed poem found in Yomota Inuhiko's collection. The heart is like a rolling stone. It tells the grim story of a boy named Tomino, vomiting blood and descending into the deepest pits of hell. Unlike ghosts, you can run from. This is a passive curse hidden in text. You can read it with your eyes, but don't ever let your vocal cords vibrate. Records from Japanese online occult boards describe a 2011 incident where a popular live streamer read the entire poem aloud as a joke. Exactly 48 hours later, the stream archive was deleted, and the user's social media was flooded with reports of a sudden, fatal motorcycle accident involving the creator. The legend states that reading it aloud triggers a biological countdown of misfortune. You might face a sudden, agonizing illness or a freak accident that defies logic. Basically, your voice becomes the key that unlocks your own coffin. It is a psychological trap for those who think they are too cool for urban legends. In a 2015 analysis by local urban myth researchers, nearly 30% of people who claimed to have whispered the poem reported hearing unexplainable heavy breathing from their own pillows that same night. If you feel a chill while reading this, keep your mouth shut and keep scrolling. Your curiosity is exactly what the curse feeds on to manifest in the real world. Gozu, Gozu, or cowhead, is the ultimate urban legend because it functions as a lethal weapon of information. It is a story so terrifying that hearing it causes immediate, violent biological rejection in the human brain. We're talking about a story that is literally too scary for our hardware to process. A 2007 case file from a rural school bus trip in Shizuoka mentioned a teacher who started telling the Gozu story to quiet down his rowdy students. Within minutes, the entire bus was filled with screams. The students fell into a deep trance, and the teacher was found catatonic, having bitten off his own tongue during the narration. The real horror is that the full content of Gozu remains unknown to the public. Everyone who knows the story is either dead, missing, or locked in a psychiatric ward. All we have are harmless fragments that describe a man with a cow's head wandering the countryside. Maybe the fact that we don't know the ending is the only thing keeping us sane right now. Medical reports from the 2007 incident showed that the survivors experienced permanent memory loss of the 15 minutes during the story, with their brain scans showing activity identical to severe post-traumatic stress. This legend represents the fear of the unknown at its peak. If you ever find a dusty manuscript titled Gozu in an old library, burn it immediately. Knowing the truth isn't a prize. It's a death sentence that turns your mind into a prison.